She poured the glass of red wine directly onto her sister's white dress, slowly, with a smile, as if drizzling sauce over roast beef. The entire room froze. Mom, mid-toast, champagne glass half-raised, Uncle Jeff, fork suspended above his mashed potatoes. Even little Finn stopped chewing. Only the wine kept dripping down the fabric, leaving crimson trails like blood. "Happy birthday, Claire," Lisa said. Her voice was steady, without a tremor. "A gift from me. Hope you wear it a long time." Claire didn't scream. Didn't cry. She just stared. And in that look was such clarity, such cold, calculated fury, that Lisa understood everything she'd just done was merely the prologue. The real revenge was still to come. For 30 years, they'd called each other sisters. For 30 years, they'd shared a room, toys, their mother's hugs, schoolyard humiliations, and first kisses. But everything changed 5 years ago when their mother died. Margaret Holt had an iron will but a tender heart. She could reconcile even the bitterest enemies, especially her daughters. But when cancer took her in just 3 months, leaving behind only emptiness and a will, the sisters looked at each other for the first time not as family, but as rivals. The will was simple. The lake house, savings, family heirlooms, everything split equally. Except one thing. Except the sapphire ring Margaret had worn since their father proposed in 1972. That ring wasn't just jewelry, it became the symbol of everything they'd lost. "She wanted it to go to me," Claire said at the funeral, her hand resting on the jewelry box. "I cared for her all those final years. You didn't even come when she got worse." "I was on a business trip," Lisa replied, fists clenched. "And I had my reasons too." But the arguments didn't stop. A week later, Claire was already wearing the ring. She claimed their mother handed it to her personally before she died. Lisa had no proof otherwise. Only emptiness and resentment. They stopped speaking after that. Occasionally, they'd exchange messages through their mother's old friend, Mrs. Green, to sort out roof repairs or hedge trimming. But they both still showed up to family gatherings, not out of respect for each other, but out of respect for their mother's memory. For the past 5 years, their interactions had boiled down to polite nods and venomous compliments. But this year was supposed to be different. Claire decided to host a family reunion, an elaborate dinner at the new house she'd bought with money from selling their shared inheritance. "I want us to move past all this," she'd told Lisa over the phone a week before the event. Mom would have wanted it. Lisa didn't believe a word. She knew Claire didn't forgive. She planned. The morning after the dinner, Lisa sat in her kitchen brewing coffee and flipping through the newspaper. The news was the usual: crime, elections, weather. But at the bottom of the page, in the local classifieds, her eye caught a tiny ad. "Lake house for sale. Historic property. Excellent condition. Family owned. Serious inquiries only, C.H." Lisa dropped her mug. Shards scattered across the floor, hot liquid soaking her slippers. The lake house, that was their house. Their childhood. Where they'd played, argued, reconciled. Where their mother had died. And now it was being sold without her consent. She dialed her sister's number. That same voice, as soft as silk, but laced with ice, answered. "Hi, Liz. Already read it. You had no right." Lisa shouted. "That house is ours. Half of it belongs to me." "Not according to the paperwork," Claire replied. "Remember that power of attorney you signed while you were in Europe? I handled everything properly. The house is in my name. So, thanks for your support." Lisa slammed the phone down. Her heart pounded as if trying to escape her chest. She walked through her house, scanning every object, every photograph. Then her eyes landed on an old album, their mother's. Inside were pictures of them as kids, their father, their grandmother, and one strange photo tucked under the cover, a yellowed image of a young woman holding a baby. Inscribed, "Sarah and Little Thomas. 1968. Lisa didn't know who they were. But something inside stirred. An intuition she'd learned to trust since her divorce. She went to the city archives, the place where old birth certificates, marriage licenses, and death records were kept. She wasn't looking for anything specific, just a feeling that Claire was hiding something. Not just the ring. Not just the house. 2 days later, amid dusty folders and microfilm reels, she found it. A birth certificate for Thomas Holt. Father, Richard Holt. Mother, Sarah Bennett. Richard Holt was Lisa and Claire's father. But in their official documents, their mother was listed as Margaret Holt. No mention of Sarah. Lisa returned home and dug deeper. She found old newspapers, phone directories, church records. It all added up. Thomas was born in 1968. Died in 1971 in a drowning accident at the lake. Margaret married Richard in 1973. Thomas was their father's first son with another woman. Which meant. Lisa looked in the mirror. Then she pulled out her own birth certificate and Claire's. Both listed Margaret and Richard Holt as parents. Both labeled daughter. But what if one of them was a lie? She drove to the hospital where they'd both been born. After hours of pleading and showing ID, she gained access to the old records. And there it was. Record from 1985, birth of Lisa Holt. Mother, Margaret Holt. Father, Richard Holt. Record from 1987, birth of Claire Holt. Mother, Catherine Miller. Father, not listed. Lisa couldn't breathe. She sat in her car, the printout trembling in her hands. Claire wasn't her biological sister. She was adopted? No. Worse. She was the daughter of someone else, someone Margaret had taken in, perhaps out of pity, perhaps out of guilt. But why had they kept it secret? Back home, she sifted through her mother's belongings. In an old dresser drawer, behind a sock compartment, she found a letter. The envelope was yellowed, unmailed, so it had never been sent. Addressed simply, for Margaret. It was from Catherine Miller. Margaret, I'm dying. It's cancer. I don't want Claire to be alone. You've always been kind. Take her. Raise her as your own. She's not to blame for being born to such a man. I can't go on. Forgive me. Save my girl. The letter was dated 2 months before Catherine's death. Claire had been 3. Margaret had taken her in, adopted her, and never told a soul. Not even her husband. Especially not him. Lisa stared out the window. One thought circled in her mind. Claire has lived a lie her whole life. And now she's trying to steal what's rightfully mine, the only true daughter. But another part of her whispered, she lost her mother twice. And everything she has, she fought to keep. Lisa didn't act right away. She waited. She planned. Revenge wasn't screaming or tears. Revenge was cold calculation. When Claire announced the house sale, Lisa secretly contacted a potential buyer, an old friend of their father's, Mr. Dillon. She showed him documents proving the sale was illegal, that she had veto rights. He agreed to withdraw his offer. Then she filed a lawsuit requesting restoration of co-ownership. And she attached Claire's birth certificate to the filing. She didn't want to destroy her sister. She wanted her to understand, nothing can be taken without consequence. Every lie eventually comes to light. The court date was set for 3 weeks later. Claire arrived in a black suit, her face carved from marble. She wouldn't look at Lisa. But when the judge read the evidence, her hands shook. You're alleging that the adoption was concealed? The judge asked. I didn't conceal it, Claire whispered. It's just, no one ever asked. Did your mother know? Lisa's lawyer pressed. Yes, but she said it didn't matter. That I was her daughter. And your father? Claire fell silent. Then softly said, he left a year after she took me in. For good. Said he couldn't look at the face of a stranger's child. The courtroom hushed. For the first time, Lisa saw not malice in her sister's eyes, but pain. Deep, ancient pain, scabbed over but still raw. After the hearing, they met in the parking lot. Neither spoke first. Did you know? Lisa finally asked. No, Claire replied. I didn't know you'd find out. But I knew the truth would come out eventually. Why did you sell the house? I needed money. I have debts. I'm not who you think I am. And who do I think you are? That I'm greedy. Cruel. That I steal. You did steal, Lisa said. But maybe you had reasons. They stood in silence. Wind tugged at their coat hems. Mom loved us both, Claire said quietly. Differently. But she loved us. Yes, Lisa agreed. But love doesn't cancel justice. And revenge doesn't rebuild trust. No, Lisa nodded. But it gives you a chance to start over. They didn't hug that day. Didn't become sisters again. But they agreed to fairly share the house, sell it together, split the proceeds, and leave the ring in the family jewelry box until one of them had a daughter. A month later, Lisa received a letter. No return address. Inside was an old photo, 2 girls on the lakeshore, laughing, holding hands. On the back, a note. Remember when we swore we'd never be enemies? I remember. See. Lisa placed the photo in a frame, set it on the shelf beside her mother's jewelry box. The revenge was over. But maybe, just maybe, the family was only beginning.